Y'all, stop whatever you're doing because this tea is nuclear level. I'm talking end of world, reality TV universe imploding type tea. You thought you'd seen messy before. Nope, not like this. Not with these people, because Mendeecees just dropped a bomb so big. It's got the streets of Atlanta shaking like a cheap ring light in a TikTok live. Let me ask you, what happens when you take one reality TV husband with a history of oops, my bad cheating, scandals, mix in a married woman who swears she's the queen of loyalty, and put them both in a luxury penthouse at almost midnight with champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries? You get a scandal so wild, even Netflix would say no, that's too unrealistic. And guess who was there to witness the whole thing? Not a paparazzi, not a random hotel guest. No, baby Mendeecees himself. And when I tell you, he did not just spill tea. He poured the whole boiling pot straight onto the internet with receipts. That could end marriages and maybe even end friendships. So grab your snacks, lock your doors, and silence your phone because I'm about to tell you exactly how. Kirk and Kendra's mystery night turned into the biggest love and hip-hop explosion of the year. Kirk, I swear I'm innocent Frost. Kendra, I'm a loyal wife Robinson, and Mendeecees certified tea distributor. Harris are the names at the center of a scandal so messy it feels like the writers of reality TV took a double shot of espresso and decided to create chaos just for fun. Kirk's marriage to Rasheeda has been through more cheating rumors than a celebrity tabloid section. The kind of rumors that involve secret kids, questionable late-night meetings, and the infamous "it's just business" excuse that nobody ever really believes. Kendra, on the other hand, has built her whole love and hip-hop persona on loyalty, trust, and acting like she is the moral compass of the cast. Standing by Jock and clapping back at anyone who even hints at disloyalty. And then there's Mendeecees, who has somehow become the accidental private investigator of this story. The man who didn't just stumble across gossip, but stumbled right into the middle of it, receipts in hand. And apparently zero concern for the fallout. It all started in the most unexpected way. Mendeecees was at a high-end hotel in Atlanta. One of those places where celebs pretend to be low-key but somehow always get spotted. Maybe because being low-key is impossible when you're checking into a suite that costs more than most people's rent. He was minding his business, probably thinking about room service, until he noticed Kirk walking through the lobby. And not just walking, but walking like he was auditioning for Mission Impossible. Scanning the room, looking over his shoulder, trying to act casual but failing miserably. A few minutes later, who strolls in? Kendra. Alone, no assistant, no legal paperwork in sight, no camera crew, just her and a vibe that screamed this is not a regular Tuesday. At first, maybe you could say it was a coincidence. To Love and Hip Hop cast members happen to be at the same hotel. Sure, that's possible, just like it's possible pigs could fly if you gave them a jetpack, but that doesn't mean it's likely. Then things got spicier. As Mendeecees lingered in the lobby, he overheard a hotel staff member whisper to another, "They're back again. Back again." As in this isn't the first time. That was all it took for Mendeecees to mentally put his detective hat on. He waited, watching, until a bellhop rolled a cart toward the VIP elevators. On that cart, champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries. The universal symbol for romance and absolutely not for legal business meetings. And the delivery time. 11:45 p.m., not exactly peak hours for closing a business deal unless that deal involves dim lighting and whispered conversations. Now, you could argue maybe they just like late-night snacks, but if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you. Mendeecees decided to play it cool and text Kirk a casual, "What you on, bro?" And within seconds, Kirk replied, claiming he was at home chilling, which was bold, considering that at that exact moment, Kirk was stepping into the elevator holding a "Do Not Disturb" sign, and Kendra was right behind him. If that's chilling at home, then my couch must come with a penthouse suite. Sensing that social media might have some clues, Mendeecees checked Kendra's Instagram story. Sure enough, she had posted a throwback selfie with the caption "Long day. Finally relaxing," which is suspiciously vague, especially when your version of relaxing seems to involve someone else's husband. Then came the real kicker. Word spread. And soon someone from inside the hotel whispered to the right people that there was security footage. Not just any footage, but footage allegedly showing Kirk and Kendra entering the same penthouse suite at exactly 2:07 a.m. the next morning. Kirk left wearing a completely different outfit from the one he had on the night before. And let's be real, outfit changes in the middle of the night are rarely about fashion statements. The internet is undefeated when it comes to connecting dots. And it didn't take long before someone dug up credit card transactions made to that same hotel, booked under a name linked to Kendra's assistant. Why would Kendra's assistant be booking the exact same penthouse Kirk was sneaking into? That's not just a coincidence, that's a plot twist. But the mess didn't stop there. Apparently, the next morning, Kendra accidentally called the wrong number, and the person who answered heard a man's voice in the background that was definitely not young Jock's. Mendeecees knew this was about to blow up. But before he could piece everything together, word got to Rasheeda. Now, Rasheeda is no stranger to Kirk's antics, but this was different. This wasn't just some random woman. This was a castmate, a married castmate. Rasheeda got an anonymous DM with a screenshot of the hotel's guest list. Right there, plain as day, were the names Kirk Frost and Kendra's assistant, booked for the same night. Rasheeda's blood was boiling, but she didn't come to play. She called Kirk, demanding answers, and he did what Kirk always does. He claimed it was just business and that people were making things up. But business doesn't usually involve penthouse suites at 2 a.m., so Rasheeda decided she needed to see for herself. She pulled up to the hotel with two friends, and the moment she walked in, she spotted Kendra's assistant looking nervous enough to start sweating through her blazer. Rasheeda walked straight over, asking where Kirk was, and the assistant started stuttering like she was auditioning for a soap opera. Before Rasheeda could push further, her phone buzzed with another message from the same anonymous source. This time, it was a video. She hit play and saw Kirk leaving the penthouse at 6:42 a.m. Same hoodie as the night before, different pants. Rasheeda saw red. She stormed to the front desk, demanding to know which room he had left, but the staff refused to say. So she called Kirk on speaker, asking where he was, and he said he just left the gym. The gym, at 6:42 in the morning, wearing the same hoodie from last night but a brand new pair of pants. The only thing Kirk was working out was his ability to lie under pressure. Meanwhile, Kendra was acting like everything was normal, posting on social media and smiling in public. But the streets were already buzzing the moment Mendeecees' story started circulating. More people began sending in their own receipts. And that's when the situation started spiraling into something nobody could ignore. Things were already spiraling, but this was the moment when the whispers turned into a full-blown storm, because suddenly it was not just Mendeecees talking and not just one or two anonymous tipsters sending in receipts. It was like the entire city of Atlanta decided to become unpaid investigative reporters overnight. Every DM, every text, every blurry screenshot adding more fuel to the fire and making this scandal feel less like gossip and more like a crime documentary unfolding in real time. One of the juiciest pieces came from someone who claimed to be one of Kendra's own close friends. A woman we will call Miss X, who messaged a major blog with the words, "I love Kendra, but she's been sneaking around with Kirk for months," and this is not the first time, which immediately sent fans into a frenzy, because if this was not a one-time thing, then it meant that every event where Kirk and Kendra had been seen smiling in each other's direction suddenly took on a whole new meaning. People started revisiting old clips from the show, analyzing body language, pointing out inside jokes they shared, even slowing down footage to catch glances and touches that now seemed way too familiar for two people who were supposedly just friends through the show. The speculation was moving faster than anyone could control, and it caught the attention of other cast members, including Lil Scrappy, who had already been side-eyeing Kirk for years. Scrappy was not about to sit around and watch this play out on the blogs. He wanted answers face to face. So he rolled up to the Frost Bistro, Kirk's own restaurant, walked in like he owned the place, and the room instantly went quiet because everyone could feel the tension in the air. Scrappy did not waste time with pleasantries. He went straight up to Kirk and said, "You got something you want to tell me?" And Kirk tried to play dumb, shrugging, saying he didn't know what Scrappy was talking about. But Scrappy stepped closer, lowering his voice like he was delivering a threat in a movie, telling him to stop playing because everybody already knew about him creeping with Kendra. Kirk's face gave him away before his mouth even opened, but before Scrappy could push harder, Kendra herself walked in. The second Scrappy saw her, he turned and said, "You got something to say? Because your name is all up in this mess too," and Kendra froze like a deer caught in headlights, completely silent. Because you can lie to your man, you can lie to your friends, but standing in front of someone who knows the truth hits differently. And that was exactly when young Jock walked in. One look at the scene in front of him, his wife standing there looking guilty while Scrappy was clearly ready to blow up the whole situation, and Jock lost it. What the hell is this? He demanded, his voice rising as Kendra started stammering out an excuse, saying it was not what it looked like, swearing there was an explanation, but Jock cut her off, telling her it was exactly what it looked like. The look on his face was pure disbelief. Like every bit of loyalty she had claimed in public was nothing but smoke and mirrors. Rasheeda was right there too, watching her own husband standing in the middle of this chaos, and she was done playing the calm wife. She marched right up to Kirk, her voice sharp enough to cut glass, asking if this was what their marriage had become. Asking how many more times he planned on embarrassing her. Kirk just sighed like he was tired, which made Rasheeda snap even harder because if anyone had the right to be tired, it was her. Tired of the lies, tired of the excuses, tired of being made to look like a fool in front of the world. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Kendra, her eyes filling with tears, blurted out, "I didn't mean for it to happen." It was a mistake which made the entire room react, but before anyone could speak, she turned to Jock and said, "And let's not act like you've been some perfect husband. I know about those other women." The air got sucked out of the room in an instant, because now the whole scandal had flipped on its head. People were gasping, phones were coming out to record, and the gossip blogs had just been handed a whole new headline. Jock's face went from anger to shock, and he just stood there shaking his head, muttering that she was out here making him look stupid while she was no saint herself. The room fell into a tense silence, that kind of silence where you can hear every breath, because when people stop yelling and start speaking in low, measured tones, that's when you know the damage has been done. Scrappy, shaking his head, like he could not believe what he was hearing, just threw his hands up and said he was done because the whole thing was clown behavior. That was the moment the alliances shifted. Jock and Kendra were suddenly on the rocks, Rasheeda and Kirk were barely holding it together, and Scrappy wanted no part in either side. Meanwhile, social media was eating this up like a holiday feast. Every platform was flooded with memes, edits, theories, and side-by-side photo comparisons of Kirk and Kendra's outfits, timelines being constructed like this was a court case. People were going through Kendra's old interviews, picking apart every word, digging into her past, while others were revisiting Kirk's old scandals to prove this was part of his pattern. Some fans were convinced that Mendeecees had been holding on to this tea for months, just waiting for the right moment to drop it. And the conspiracy theories started flying that he might have been settling an old score or trying to stir the pot for his own storyline. Then new leaks started to surface. Someone claiming to work at the hotel sent in a blurry image that allegedly showed Kirk and Kendra sitting on the couch in the penthouse, champagne glasses in hand, with Kirk leaning way too close for it to be innocent. Another source claimed that the hotel had logged multiple stays under the same assistant's name in the past few months, all coinciding with times when Kirk had been out of town for work. Whether these were real or just internet fabrications did not matter, because the public had already made up its mind. In the court of social media, they were guilty, and now it was all about waiting to see how they would respond or if they would respond at all. Both Kirk and Kendra went silent online. No posts, no comments, nothing, which only made the rumors spread faster because in scandals like this, silence is not peace, it is gasoline on the fire. By now, the silence from both Kirk and Kendra was almost deafening, and in the world of reality TV and social media, silence is never a good sign because it gives everyone else the space to fill in the blanks with their own stories, and the blanks were being filled with more drama than even the messiest producer could dream up. Blogs were dropping daily updates. YouTube channels were posting exclusive breakdowns with arrows and circles pointing to blurry screenshots, and fan pages were tracking every move of everyone involved, from hotel sightings to on Instagram. Rasheeda was seen out without her wedding ring, which immediately became headline news, with paparazzi shouting questions about whether she was finally done with Kirk. And although she ignored them, her body language screamed that she was over it. Jock was spotted looking irritated in public, avoiding any mention of Kendra, while Kendra herself had gone completely ghost. No posts, no likes, no comments, nothing, as if she had vanished from the planet. That disappearance only made people hungrier for answers because everyone knows when someone in a scandal disappears, it means they are either hiding from the fallout or waiting to make a comeback with their own version of the truth. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was living his best life online, posting cryptic captions like "Some people forget I was there," and "Receipts never expire," which sent fans into detective mode all over again, trying to figure out if he had more evidence tucked away. Then came another twist, when a so-called insider leaked what they claimed was a snippet of a phone conversation between two hotel employees discussing how that couple had caused tension among the staff, because they were told to treat their visits as strictly confidential. The recording was grainy, the voices were unclear, and no names were mentioned, but that did not matter because the internet took it and ran, labeling it proof that Kirk and Kendra had been meeting up in secret for longer than anyone realized. The story had reached a point where even unrelated cast members were being asked about it during interviews, with some trying to dodge the question and others throwing in shady one-liners like "I mind my business, but I ain't blind." That shade only poured more gasoline on the fire, and soon people were speculating about a massive reunion episode that would put everyone in the same room to address the rumors. Fans were calling it the episode that could break the internet, imagining the confrontations, the tears, and the accusations flying like confetti. In the middle of all this chaos, a rumor began circulating that Rasheeda had met with her lawyer to discuss separation, though no one could confirm it, and the blogs were split between those insisting divorce papers were being drawn up and those claiming she was just making Kirk sweat. Jock, for his part, was allegedly staying at a separate place from Kendra, with friends close to him telling sources he felt completely blindsided by how deep the situation seemed to go. Some even claimed he had his own evidence of Kendra's late-night activities that he was keeping under wraps for now. On top of that, an anonymous source dropped a bomb by saying that a major brand had quietly pulled back from a collaboration with Kendra after the scandal hit, worried about the optics of attaching their name to someone in the middle of such messy headlines. That financial hit, if true, would be the first tangible consequence from all of this, and people began wondering how long it would be before more partnerships started distancing themselves from both Kirk and Kendra. As days passed with no direct statements, the theories got wilder, with some saying Kendra was waiting to drop a tell-all interview for a huge payout, while others believed Kirk was trying to negotiate some kind of joint PR strategy to minimize damage to both of their reputations. Meanwhile, old footage kept resurfacing online, like that one clip from a cast event where Kirk and Kendra were seen laughing together in a corner while everyone else was on the dance floor. Or that time on the show when Jock made a joke about her being too friendly and she shot back a little too defensively. These moments, which had seemed harmless before, now felt like glaring red flags in hindsight, and fans were piecing them together into elaborate timelines. The funniest part was that even people who had never watched Love and Hip Hop were now invested in the saga because the drama had crossed over into mainstream gossip, showing up on meme pages, TikTok stitches, and shady podcast segments. Every time it seemed like the noise might die down, a new receipt would pop up to reignite the chaos. Whether it was a grainy hotel hallway photo or a vague social media post that people swore was aimed at one of the players. Then, just when the speculation felt like it had reached its peak, a paparazzi video surfaced of Kirk getting into his car outside the Frost Bistro, looking visibly irritated, and when asked about the hotel rumors, he simply muttered people believe whatever they want before driving off. That clip went viral within hours, with half the internet saying it was proof he had something to hide and the other half saying he was just fed up with the constant questions. But the real kicker came a few days later when a well-known Atlanta gossip vlogger claimed to have seen both Kirk and Kendra at a private lounge together, seated in a corner booth, talking intensely. No photos were taken, but the eyewitness swore it was them, and the fact that this sighting came after weeks of public silence made it all the more explosive. The vlogger's comments section blew up with people debating whether this was a peace talk, a strategy meeting, or proof that they were still seeing each other despite the backlash. Through it all, one thing became crystal clear. Whatever the truth was, it had cracked open not just to marriages but the entire dynamic of the love and hip-hop circle, leaving friendships fractured, alliances shifting, and fans more divided than ever. Some believed Kendra and Kirk were the villains, others thought they were just caught in a bad moment, and a few conspiracy theorists even suggested the whole thing was a stunt for ratings. But stunt or not, the fallout was real, and the longer the silence stretched, the more it felt like the next move from either of them would have to be massive to shift the narrative. Until then, the streets kept talking, the blogs kept posting, and everyone involved was learning the hard way that once the internet smells scandal, there's no going back to quiet. If you have been following every twist and turn of this unfolding drama, now is the time to stay locked in because the story is far from over and the next chapter could change everything. The truth has a way of coming to light, and when it does, you will want to be among the first to see it. Hear it, and analyze it for yourself. Keep your notifications on. Follow every credible update, and do not just scroll past the headlines, because the smallest detail could be the clue that finally pieces this puzzle together. Join the conversation, share your theories, and do not be afraid to ask the tough questions that others might avoid, because it is often the bold voices that push the truth into the open. Whether you believe this is a betrayal, a misunderstanding, or a masterclass in publicity, your perspective matters and adds to the bigger picture of what is really going on. This is not just a story about relationships, it is about loyalty, trust, and how fast public opinion can shift in the spotlight. Stay engaged, keep the discussion alive, and be ready for the moment when the real story finally breaks.